Hello and welcome to the next session of Godbound, our third arc. Last time, our pantheon arrived at Neeharik and cast down the angels. I also just knocked a pot off the side of the popcorn. Glad I ate all of it. Anyway, there we go. That was a very loud sound. In any case, we did that. We had a combat at the end. We kind of ran over time, so we didn't do stars and wishes at the end. We'll definitely do that. We'll kind of carry over a little bit from last session to this. But we're going to kind of take up on the ground, like in the aftermath of this, with the five of you present there in Neeharik, which is effectively the capital of Geznya. So we'll talk about what that's going to mean for all of you. I gave the group some more Dominion to kind of make up to get us closer to the numbers we're supposed to be at, and some XP. And I think that's kind of where we're going to be starting at this moment. Oh, I did put in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, Tyler, a link to a document. Let me copy it and drop it in again. I always forget how that works with this. So those four directional pedestals things that were being built, they were being built for what are called interval gates, or dulcet crystal interval gates, from the Empire of Masks, the Empire of Hours, down to the southeast. And that's a document that kind of explains what those are. So Captain Ransom, uh, you are bloodied but unbowed, and now that we're out of combat, you can recover all of your hit points. But I imagine that is kind of sitting down, uh, catching your breath, and so on. The machinery of the angels' time dilation is gone with them. The circuitry that was tapped into the Mundus wards of the city, that's all been undone and depowered right now. And so what exactly is going on in the city is unclear. What's happening right now, because you know that the angels have bound a lot of people to them, a lot of these sorcerers and things, and they also, through their influence and their very presence, were exerting some control over the city itself. So, Ransom, when we come to you here in the aftermath of this, what do we see?
Um, First, you know, I think there's almost this is a weird place, but I find somewhere to kind of lead and probably sink down, and we'll see kind of that the bird aspect start draining back. I pull back my effort out of my things,
Mm-hmm.
and begin looking around to see any of my crew look hurt. Is everyone all right? Good. Well, and then I'll kind of break out a big smile and go, well, how about that? We won!
I am much relieved.
Oh, that was impressive. Very good, Vetro. And holy crap. I know your name, but I can't see it there. But, uh, but thank you. You saved my ass by healing me. Tasos, it was unbelievable. All the You just got pounded on there. And Darius, first fight, excellent job.
They were not so much.
Well, they were quite a lot. I thought they
Simple created beings.
well, um, suppose we need to find your friend Tasos.
You want Mom?
No, she's
Yeah,
there.
she's
Is
yeah,
she
she's
hurt?
right here.
Are you hurt?
She
We're missing
she
someone
is
else, though, right?
she appears as herself right now. And she is recovering from the essentially the channeling that the angels were doing of the energy through her. And she's very quiet right now, but she will
I'm
nod when she's asked if she's well.
I'm continue to break whatever that apparatus was, or cage, or something.
Okay.
Are you sure you're all right?
She will look at you and she will say, I am fine.
Don't know if there is much I could do, but I could try to take away some of the anxiety of it.
Do not touch my mind. You and yours have done enough to me already.
Tasos is behind her, and like, ooh, dude, no.
As you wish.
Did the and she hesitates. Children make it home?
Yes.
They're safe back on the island, and I told them never to leave again. They're never leaving. They're not leaving.
And she'll look at you with a kind of an I told you so, Tassos look on her face. She may recall the last thing she said was you were kind of mad that you had sent the kids out to come here and she went after them.
Tassos is, in general, proudly immune to such looks, but she has had several years to sharpen it.
Yes.
And you say the time shift has
It's ended. Yeah.
Can we get a
All
sense
right.
of where Tonsakar is?
That's the thing you can try and do.
That's what I will try to do.
Okay. Let me come to you in just a sec. Let me check her. Darius. Like, had you ever done anything like this before, even close to this before? What was
No,
what,
definitely not.
what is going through your mind right now?
Is this just a thing that I do now? Like, what the hell? I mean, admittedly, I thought we were all gonna die, and then we didn't die, so that's good. But the thought that this is just like this is how my life is gonna be from now on is terrifying.
Yeah. You look around, there are bodies and creatures everywhere, and this whole place pulses with a fading but unpleasant and uncanny energy. And I think that given your word, you can feel the tumult starting in the city.
Right. Yeah. We did just change something really big.
Yeah. So what you know that they will see a change in the atmosphere, like a drastic change. And there will be some magical fallout generally amongst, but there are a bunch of people, as I said, that were bound to these angels, and what's going to happen now, what has happened now is unclear. And so you can feel the crack begin in the civil authority.
Okay. Um, yeah, that's not anything to do anything about that. Uh and maybe it's best to not do anything about that.
Yeah, I can always take a look. You still have some words that you haven't picked, I
Yeah,
believe. So you might
that's
look at
true. I
this
do
word
have some
disease.
space
You
left.
might also look at the words of health and maybe get a healing spell.
Yeah, yes. Reminds me, I was going to do that.
So yeah, you're kind of staying and listening to the city right now, listening to Neeharik go. Evedro, what are you doing?
I feel like I'm watching Darius, who's reacting to this city's um change and realizing that we've kind of created a power vacuum. Um, and I say to Darius, thank you for joining us, for your help. Just to be clear, it's not like we do this every weekend. So, this is just the occasional foray into celestial violence.
Well, that's a relief. Um, this place is going to be pretty chaotic soon.
I'm wondering, well, if I could spend, I think it would be influence, to establish a temporary bureaucracy, uh, to create a sense of stability, and to fill the vacuum that the angels left.
Sure, let me look at what I think the cost would be for that. Those rules.
Or I could build a permanent one with Dominion
Mhm.
as well. Just sort of reestablish kind of a bureaucratic structure to the city.
I mean, you're going to have to redo the schools, so might as well lay the
Yeah.
groundwork.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm welcome back.
Are you
And are you?
letting us know you're doing that, Evedra?
I am doing that, and I'm waiting. I'm concentrating hard to figure out how much does this cost me.
Okay. So right now, the base cost to affect a city is 2.
That's
Uh,
influence.
2 influence. Uh, and I think to essentially like fill the gap of the civil structure with your network thing is probably tough. So I think it'll be 4 points of either influence or dominion to do that.
Okay, I don't know that it
And that
doesn't.
can be also shared amongst players if you're doing the influence, for example.
Yeah, I don't have enough influence for that.
I can I can
Yeah.
give one, and along with that, if you start saying, if you will concentrate, sort of share with me who and in general you are placing there, the sort of structure you are building, and I will spend an influence to help you, and I'll put an effort into my courage of the multitude. I just inspire and sustain citizens of a city you currently occupy. Every normal mortal citizen gains a hit bonus equal to your level, and a morale of 12 when facing threats to the city as a whole. I can exclude a specific group or hostile locals from this benefit. Courageous citizenry counts as a feature that does not add additional problems to a faction, nor
Okay.
can it be sacrificed.
So that will quell the fears of the populace, the uncertainty, the sudden sort of freaking out about their knowledge that the force that was supporting them is gone. Uh, 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 Things are already people are starting to hear that the royal family is dead because essentially all of that superstructure of the royal family were sustained and bound to these angels. And now maids and palace workers are fleeing down from there because just about everybody is dead there. But with if you put in 3 influence of
Yep.
Edro and what you'll be able to essentially create that feeling of okay, there is a civil structure There is authority here. There is someone. Nobody exactly knows who that is, but everybody has the sense, and they kind of that starts to fall into place. That panic is kind of taken care of. Uh, uh, I think that you will definitely feel that there are a chunk of people who are not affected by your courage of the multitude, Captain Ransom, because those students are no longer normal mortals. So they are kind of outside of that. So that's sort of a separate thing. But the
No
schools are
problem.
kind of isolated from the regular population. So you'll be able to, Vedro, what does that look like? What do we see you do with your word of network here?
It's bureaucracy is the word that
Oh,
I've
bureaucracy.
sort of invented. Uh I think I feel sort of waves of the lack of structure. And it was not immediately clear to me how much the angels had sort of um put rested on themselves in terms of like how much the city depended on them just for normal everyday functioning. Um, I think in order for me to manifest this bureaucracy for them, I have to sort of physically create it. And so I'm kind of like moving stones and pebbles around on the ground that kind of represents this underlying structure for the city. And whatever's happening to them sort of creates the kind of all the necessary uh, bureaucracy and what's the word I'm looking for? Confidence that
Mhm.
things are going to be fine for them.
Yeah, there
And
is.
Ken, as you're doing that, and I understand what it is that you're doing, can I make like figures and essentially to replace those stones and
Yeah,
putting
yeah,
something more concrete in
yeah.
so that it looks like pieces on the board or like more official
It's
and
so
it's
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just so grateful. And I think we've just did the world's first org chart here
Exactly.
in the dust, in the aftermath of
I
our
I think
I
battle.
respect structure.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think in the background, especially as Ransom adds in that gift, Tasos, who is like continued to be sort of melty and shapeshifty and not quite entirely solid shaped, sort of like his shape clamps down into a person, and he's like his whole suit is itching. He's just
Nice.
sort of like twitching and moving, like you're doing this huge influence reinforced don't feel fear thing, and Tasos is bugged by it.
I like it.
uh Threadless.
Yes. Where's Tansakar?
How are you going to find Tansakar?
Uh well, the she is in some ways under my dominion in that sense of that I have the ties to the library and the assassins. So I think I would start with that.
Okay.
Also, isn't she the one who wants to have a baby?
I don't know if she wants to have a child. She is in love with another one of the characters.
Specifically, she wanted to have his child. Yes.
Uh,
So I think that she has actually come to me at
okay.
so.
So want to do this kind of as a miracle then? Spend
Mm-hmm.
an effort to do
Yes.
that.
Yes.
I'll commit that for the day. Uh, I think a combination of your fertility word and your bow word will detect her in the city,
Mm-hmm.
though weak.
All right. I say I have to go find Tansakar. I will be back shortly, if that's okay.
You need help?
She is weak. Um, I don't know what situation she's in. Might be helpful,
I'll come
but
with you.
uh, that would definitely, I know I can travel faster with you. I said,
may I, in your absence, break this building?
ah. And she sort of stops. She goes, there's great parts of it that you can, but there's, and she kind of looks at those pillars and she goes, those have a resonance to them. And if you break those, it may actually, what do you say, destroy some things we didn't intend.
When you come back, I will give you a piece of chalk and you can mark the things that you do not wish me to break.
Oh, you are a genius.
Anything that you do not mark, I will break.
Or so good at this.
So Threadless, Darius, I think you'll head down into the city. Darius, you can feel that kind of energy fall over the city from Ivesro and Ransom's activities there. I think that one of the other things you'll realize is that clearly the Mundus ward is down, because otherwise it would have cost a lot more for them to be able to do that, to impose their will on this. But that seems to have, the time things seem to have gone down, the Mundus wards, all those things have to have gone down at once. But I think the two of you will find yourselves in the city. People are kind of greeting you kind of uncertainly, but greeting you. And you eventually find yourself at essentially a detention center.
Excellent.
And there is a constable who clearly doesn't know what the chain of authority is now. But he will greet you and will say, this is a jail. It is not meant for just anyone.
I know. And there's someone here that should not be here. We have just come down from the tower.
You work for the tower. All right.
And I say,
that kind of, you see him slot you into his mental org map of authority.
I
there,
understand. And I picture Vedro just now drawing that box,
moving that figure into place.
Exactly.
And he'll go, all right, well, what was the name?
The name is Tonsakar.
Oh, all right. And he will take you down, and he will say, keep in mind, she came here like this to us.
Very well.
And you will be brought into, it's obviously a cell. It's not particularly clean. It's not particularly well set. And you will see Tonsakar, and you can see that they've taken her other eye, and they've taken both of her hands.
That's horrifying. I can do something about that.
And all I will do then when I see you start to step forward to us is say, Tonsakar would here.
And she will look up and she will say, I'm glad you announced yourself. I have not developed the amazing additional sense of hearing that I was supposed to when one loses one's eyes in the 4 months that I have been here.
For us,
that's
a few hours. And I kind of sit down next to her, Darius, just so I'm there, and she goes, we'll do what we can.
She'll say, it is Darius who is here?
Yes. I'm here. This is the person who kept avoiding me before, right?
Yes. She will, with one stump, she'll point to the eye that has always been gone, and she will say, do not this one.
All right,
This one, yes, and these, yes, please.
all right, I'll do what I can. That one would take longer anyway because it's clearly been gone for a lot longer. And yeah, I will just on action. Okay.
Okay. And
Um
what is this? What
yeah.
is this gift? This word?
Flesh made true. You are able to cure a target's maimings, blindings, poisons, mutilations, and birth defects by sight once per round. This does not heal hit point damage, but it can restore lost limbs and crippled functionality. There we go. That's the word.
So, uh, tell me what that looks like. Like you have to restore hands that have been chopped off, and an eye that has been surgically removed.
Yeah, I think it is not a pleasant process for anybody. It's not a pleasant process to watch, and it's because um, you know how a salamander's tail will grow back?
Mm-hmm.
It literally grows back from the stump. There's a phase when it's kind of small and fragile, and probably very sensitive. I don't know. I'm not a salamander. Um, but I think that's what you see at first. Like you just see like kind of an undifferentiated lump of flesh at each wrist, and then slowly extend out and form into a hand shaped thing but smaller. And this is probably painful because the nerves regrow.
Mm-hmm.
um but you could see like clearly there are hands taking shape, and the same with the eye. It starts out sort of flattened and almost inflates.
Mm-hmm. I think we cut to the screaming, to outside the cell, Threadless, as you keep her steady in the face of this.
I have. Um, I have effort. I still have some effort. Can I spend my last one to uh damp that down?
Sure, you can do that as a miracle, certainly.
Yeah,
Commit that
that
for
would
the
be,
day.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, and then you'll kind of dull that pain as the hands and the eye grow back.
I feel it too. There's that whole thing that I'm like,
Yeah, it's
that's
probably
it.
something that anyone watching would just be like but yeah, like, well, it will hurt for a few days, but it will grow back and it'll be as good as ever.
Thank you. Says that kind of like that when you been like bumped your knee really hard and it's hurting and you try to say, okay, it's okay. It's that sort of look on her face. Um, Tasos, what are you doing? Somebody took away all this delicious fear that was bubbling up in the city. Desperate fear.
I mean, it was just, it had such a nice ambiance to it. I was really thought this was a good place to settle down, maybe. Um, no,
Raise a horrible nightmare family.
it's the dream. Um, uh, I think Tasos is like pacing around. Like they want to go hover over Nuanlao, but experience says that's the worst thing to do. So they like go away to not hover around Nuanlao, but they don't want to like leave Nuanlao alone and like have her think that they're not in, like they don't care. So they sort of like hover a little bit more. It's a whole thing.
One of the things you'll see her do is once kind of everything is settled down, she's kind of caught her breath and she will get up and with some hesitation, clearly kind of still a little bit suffering. As much as anything, she's still getting used to her body again. And she will walk outside, and you'll see her kind of stand and look at those 4 pedestals and that are being built there. And she'll kind of stand and then start to walk around and look at them.
Are they an overture from the Empire of Hours?
Is that what you say to her?
Yes. It's natural conversation. So
She looks at you. No. No. Before the mask found me and made me great, you know, the mask that you broke. Before that, as many who are chosen do, I had a different life, and I was I was an engineer, and I worked on these, and I knew how they worked, and the angels tore that and so much more from my mind over the years that I have been here.
I didn't know you could make such things.
I cannot. I know how to make such things. I know what is involved. And they took that knowledge and they planned to utilize it.
Do you want to talk to Delek and Dala? I can reach out to them.
As long as they are home safe, that is all that matters right now.
They were concerned for you. They worried about what had happened to you, or where you were, or what you were doing.
She pauses and she looks at you and she says, I appreciate their concern, but I will be fine now that you have stopped them, the angels.
It was an insidious magic they did, breaking time. It's no one should twist those sort of things. But he looks up at the
No,
crystal.
she says, you don't understand. I grew up in a place where the regulation of time and the proper maintenance of time and the absolute nature of time was so important. So this was a blasphemy to me.
Are they all gone? Do you know, are there any more of them that weren't here?
I don't believe there were any others. But you should know this. Their being gone will be felt. There will be other things in this world that will have felt their absence gone.
Look back up towards the towers. Seems they were intent on wreaking many blasphemies. What would you have of the tower? It's a dream ripped from your mind. You should have control over it.
The tower is not of my making. These 4 gates, I don't know. They're not finished. They're unbuilt.
Their fate is yours to know.
She pauses and she says, I think their fate is for all of us to decide. We are a team, a family, right?
If that's what you've decided.
That's always going to be the answer you give, isn't it? And she'll turn and she'll walk away.
Tasos looks very confused. Like, they thought they'd got, that was the, they were giving it all, that didn't work either.
Captain Ransom, you seem to have calmed the unrest in the city. You will probably get word from Darius and Threadless that essentially they have found Tonsakar and they are healing her now.
Good.
Vedro is I assume kind of maybe moving some things around. Like the first time you get it, you're like, this is good, but we could do better.
I will send word back to the ship and Delasia in particular, but I will also let Butters know that we have been successful, that the time dilation is over, and ask how long it's been since they've heard from us.
And she will say, you just left like a hour and a half ago, the travel time to the city. Like we saw
Ex
you go in and it has been less than a minute.
Excellent. Well, it's all been, well, at least the threat seems to be nullified, and we're trying to get the city calmed. But I wanted you to know.
Good. I am relieved. She'll pause. Is everybody all right?
Yes, well, as much as can be expected. The prisoners, I think, both suffered considerably, but we are trying to do what we can to fix that. I'm sure that there's more than body that has been injured here, but we will make sure that they have time and somewhere peaceful to recover.
All right. What is it you need us to do?
As of now, let's stay in position. I will let everyone know as soon as there may be some requirements, but for now we still have some things to check out here in the city.
All right.
If you would like to come,
No, I think I'll let you and yours do that. Oh, right here. I will tell Mr. Butters he can stop doing his calculations.
very good.
He's still trying to figure out the time thing.
Ah, yes. Let him know, and if you have need, you have only to call me,
I know that.
and I'll go over to Avedro and I've let the Sea Wing know that everything is calm. How is your work going, my friend?
It was going fine, and then you talk to me, and now I gotta start. I gotta readjust.
Well, I'm sure
Just
you'll do very well to compensate.
you're standing on the Department of Sanitation, so that pebble there is actually part of this.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I will move off and clean my the soles of my shoes. I would remind you, however, uh, before you become too engrossed, there are still the sorcerers, which we have very little control over.
right. Our work is never done.
Unfortunately, not, my friend.
Tasos seems a little upset, even for Tasos. Maybe you and I should go investigate the remains of the sorcery school.
Agreed.
So the two of you will head off to go down to the sorcery school then. Okay. Leaving Tassos here with the great machines of the working.
That'll probably be
And
fine.
Sonning.
And it's Sonic, who's kind of waiting to break it all.
That is quite the combination, Tasos and Unsoning. Nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah. So let's come back to Threadless and Darius. Darius, you have restored Tonsakar's eyes and hands, and she will say, I feel naked without a blade. May I have some kind of knife or something? You are muted.
You may have your blade here, but yes, of course.
Okay. She'll say, why don't I look for it? Why don't you and Darius go outside and I will be out shortly?
And she sort of stops and she goes, that's reasonable.
Okay.
I know it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I sort of push Darius out in front of me. So
It probably takes her a good 5 minutes to kill everyone in here. But she will do that. And then she will come outside and she's kind of doing this. You will see that tattoo has come back on her hand in with the restoration. And
yeah, and I think I do. I like hold her head. I say, "Oh,
it is an enchantment."
Never seen a tattoo come back along with that. It's very interesting.
It is what I sold this for. And she says these feel very weird. Is that normal, Darius?
I think it will take a while for the nerves to grow and connect. Yes, it will. It feels weird at first.
probably not as strong as your own hands would have been. You'll have to."
They were strong enough.
Were they? Okay,
Yes.
good. And again, I'll nudge Darius like, "Good job, yeah."
So, Darius, what do you want to do here? You've heard that Ivesro and Ransom are heading down to the schools. Tasos remains up at the tower for the moment. The city seems to be stabilized for the moment here.
Yeah. I want to check out those platforms.
Okay. You will head back up. they are, as you come up there, I think we'll see Tasos and you see Nuan Lao. Um, and these are like metal platforms that extend out from around the building, kind of a ring, like a clover kind of out from it. And each one has a kind of a platform and then a set of metal sheets and a thing that's started to be built in the center. And like there's one of them that's getting fairly close to completion, but the others are in various stages of that. One of the things being when you look at them, it is weird. They are all at kind of slightly different heights.
Cool. Out of character, I have absolutely no plans for this. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Um,
I think you can feel that these are complex arcane machines, and different from the Mundus wards that your word of city interacts with. Like you can feel that, like you feel that the sort of wards below the city that have turned off. These things are potent, but they're a kind of a new magic, but not yet kindled.
Okay, cool.
And this woman will come up towards where you're at. This is that woman that Tasos yanked out. And she will say, "Who are you?"
Oh, hi, my name's Darius. Uh, I arrived at the after you had left. I guess a long time after you had left for you.
You are another one of them?
More or less.
There are more like you?
I can't say for sure, but I would guess that if I exist, probably many others do.
I see. And what do you think of human beings?
Well, I thought I was. I am one. Am I not? So I'm biased, but I approve.
But generally in favor. All right, good. I just wanted to check, and she'll look back at Tassos and then look to you. I just wanted to make sure what your impressions were there. I am Nuan Lao. Uh, I was an agent of the Empire of Hours, a Masks of the Empire, a mask, and I was defeated, and the relic, which had been the center of my life, was destroyed by them. And then they imposed their will upon me and changed me.
Uh, that sounds awful, frankly.
I've had some time
been,
to get over it.
well, that's good. Um, why? Never mind. That's not my business.
Fair enough. If you are amongst the company, then you are a member of this extended family.
uh, I appreciate that. Are you coming back with us?
I certainly hope so.
All right. Good to know.
That certainly is my plan at this moment, but no plan survives contact with Tasos.
No, no, imagine not. uh it's a strange thing to be fighting on the same side as the nightmare creature. Someone you would want to avoid normally, I think, but well, sometimes
Yes. Times make for strange bedfellows. And she'll kind of wander off away. Professor Vedro, you've gathered Captain Ransom and you want to head down uh, to the the schools. Um, and you will see that there are clearly like stages of these schools. Uh, uh, the first one that you come to is very much a we just brought the youngest kids in, like they're just getting taught how to read and write and basic literacy and all of that kind of thing. And their reaction to all the teachers being gone is woohoo! And they're raiding the cupboards and they're looking all over the place. And some of them are running back to their families and things like that. There are three other buildings, and from the sounds of it, things are not going that way there. What do you want to do?
Ransom, do you sense any sort of leadership presence?
I get the feeling that they are rudderless at the moment.
Well, well said. But loose and fancy free.
We can try to impose some leadership upon them. Those that are further taught could be quite dangerous.
I worry that even if they had completed their training, they're holding this knowledge will be dangerous regardless.
There are sorcerers in the world, but such a mass of them is unusual and flat out dangerous. What do you think we should do with them?
I think we should see whether they are willing students. I sense that building there holds those that are furthest along in their training, which might make them the most dangerous and the most unstable. Perhaps we should start there.
I will follow your lead in this, and if they get a little too unruly, I will try to tamp that down.
We head to the big building.
Okay. I think what you will find is that there are various different students here who have been bound to these different angels and to different ways. Okay. And there are a good, I think there were seven. So there are eight different factions who have been set to compete against one each other and fight against one another. And you can see that things are are going to shit. The first couple of buildings that you kind of check on, like they know they know incantations, they know basic spells, they know magic missile, they know, lowest level fireball. The next group, that second building, they're a little more dangerous, because they're throwing around like polymorph other, and mass sleep and all of those kinds of things without any kind of worry. And that third building is kind of shaking, and you can feel that some of them clearly have some theurgic power, which you're afraid that they might be starting to play around with things like opening night roads or things like that. But I think the thing you will see is outside, kind of in the yard out from this, you will see that there are a group of 3 students. They're in their little uniforms there. They notice that they are very plain. They don't have the markers of any of the like orders that you've kind of seen around. And they are seated together out in the yard, and they've got some books with them, and they're clearly having a conversation. And they'll look up at you two as you come up, and one of them will stand up and will say, "You look important."
I am important.
"That's good. Are you here to—" I apologize. Uh, what are you here to do? I do not wish to begin with assumptions.
Oh, no, I'm curious. What was your assumption?
Well, I thought that there were 2 possibilities. One is that you have come here to kill everyone. That seems like a logical thing. We were able to tell that the administration has been eliminated. Or 2, we thought you were here to take over everything.
Which would you prefer?
That's certainly not for me to say.
I think everyone should have a choice in their destiny and their outcomes and their fate. Surely, even a student as young as you have a sense of whether you would rather be dead or be learning.
Oh, we would prefer not to be dead.
Well, I
We
think
are a little bit different than the other students.
I noticed that. Can you tell me why you are not running around trying to kill each other?
We 3 uh, believe that we could muddle through without the help that the administration's offered.
So you were stowaways.
No, no, no. We were students, but most students, they get stuck, and then they go to one of the instructors or one of the scholars, one of the administrations, and the administration helps them, but they have to promise things, and that seems suspect to all of us.
A healthy dose
Clever
of skepticism.
kids.
Beg your pardon?
I'm sorry.
I looked over the Metro. Clever kids.
Yeah. A healthy dose of skepticism is the first step into a vast education. I'm very proud of you guys.
Oh, well, that's nice. And you are?
You can call me Professor Ivesro.
Oh, hello, Professor. And you uh, are you some sort of pirate or something?
Not a pirate, no. I am Captain Ransom, a privateer, a freebooter.
Oh, I'm sorry. The pictures I've seen of pirates with the V there is that made me think that.
I
Passion is for all.
I keep telling him to cover it up, but
You cannot hide your light under a bushel.
I am Tantano.
Tintano, we have a problem here. Your school is in utter disarray. There's chaos everywhere. I am tempted to kill most of these children, which would not really be a good way to start out a school. Um, what would you do in this situation? Let's call this your first lesson.
Oh, I would go in and I would find the leaders of each of the factions and I would discipline them.
I think you're onto something. Can you point out the leaders of these factions?
That I can do with some gratitude, if you do not mind, Professor Ivesro.
Let's do it.
And I do think that the first two like buildings are easy because for you, magic, you just turn it off. You and Ransom, I believe, both have gifts for doing that.
I have this gift that I haven't used yet that I'm curious about, which is called the Excision of Understanding,
Mm-hmm.
which basically means I can remove someone's knowledge of something. And I kind of want them to forget how to be sorcerers.
Okay. For the middle tier
Sure.
students.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll say to kind of does it affect a group or a person?
It's just a person.
Okay. Then I think that what we will do this is essentially you're using that and let's have you spend a dominion
Oh yeah.
to clear out from that sort of middle tier ones. I think it is more of a challenge for you all because the two of you do have to wade into dumb kids with nuclear weapons in that third building. And I think that you and Ransom both have to shut them down, essentially steal their gifts, shut down their magics. But let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
What do you want to roll for that? Do you think that is charisma of Vedro, or is it wisdom, or something else?
Let's call it wisdom.
Okay. Uh,
I think it is unless we can sort of spin it as a battle of wits that maybe these folks have come to think of themselves as hot stuff because the angels sort of planted this notion that they were going to be conquerors of some sort.
Absolutely. Let's have you roll a d20.
Oh, I didn't even bring up the roller.
Oh, and then Ransom will have you roll in a second and have you say how you're assisting here, or what your tactic is.
I rolled a 12.
That's perfect
Oh, good.
because you just need to get above a 3, I believe, with your thing. Uh, so I think it is that you will find some of these leaders, you will shut them down, you will put them in their place, you will demonstrate that they know nothing, and I think you make an example of a couple of the ones that smart off to you in the particularly a Vedra way, magical wrapping of the knuckles, and such. And Ransom, what are you doing? Are you being more kind of charismatic about this,
I think
or
I'm
more
being more
forceful?
charismatic.
Okay.
Since he's taking on the high end, I think I'm going to try and calm down the rabble, which will of course start with a wonderful production number a la High School Musical, as I will do my Nightingale song to implant, you know,
We
we
haven't
all
done
can get together, we're friends.
we
Yes.
haven't done a musical number in a while.
Let's have you roll with that.
All right. So rolling a d20,
Oh
50 plus
yeah.
2.
Nice.
I think we will get that full on production number there, the everybody dancing together, a few of the star-crossed lovers from two different factions singing duets to one another. That whole thing will go on, and especially because Avedro has kind of started to pull away their knowledge of magic. They're just kids.
Right.
They're teenagers that have put through this weird thing, and that you take away. It's not hard to take away that power from them and get them settled out. I think you end up with a a a, kids that you can send back home to their parents, effectively the ones that you do the dance number on. The ones that know the theurgy, you probably need to do a little more control on. Avedro has them kind of locked down right now, because the kinds of spells that they learned are the kinds that worm their way into their soul. And so it's more about controlling them, and focusing them, and maybe teaching them like right from wrong, would be helpful. But I think we'll see that there.
I put my arm around Ransom and I'm like, Captain, I think I realized the mistake I made with the university.
Oh, what's that?
I focused on undergraduates. I needed to start younger. Look at the untapped opportunity here to shape young minds. I'm going to start the greatest school that this world has ever seen.
All right, Avedro. Uh, yes, I'm sure that nothing could go wrong with that at all.
I mean, eventually I'll be kicked out as I was with the university, but until then, I've got so many ideas for pedagogy. Let me sit down and move some pebbles around.
Yeah, it starts laying out the figures. Maybe a little resentful that you don't have Threadless there to make the little figures, but you work with what
They
you've
will
got.
come and help me later.
Yeah.
I can get the bones down until Threadless joins me.
Threadless, let us come back to you. You're muted.
Yeah, I think we do head back to that tower.
Okay.
And I promised Unsunning the opportunity to do some high quality destruction. So part of it is, we discuss the kind of always enjoy it. It's like an aperitif. We talk about like what's going to be the most challenging part. What do we, I mean, I know he's thinking, I'm like, what is
The thing that bothers me is you keep saying load bearing.
yes. No, those are what you go for when you want to bring the whole thing down at once, right? But then there's nothing to savor. So that's the concern, right?
But I can mostly break the top part of this building, right?
Yes, but let me check these towers. There's
There, and
something weird with them.
the tower itself, the big tower is in the center, and these interval gates are extended outside from it.
Okay. Those are what I'm concerned about, because I think that even though they're magical creations, I could pick up on like there was some power moving in there.
Yeah.
I just don't want something bad to happen to Unsunning.
Right.
And do I know that these are something that Nuan Lao knows about?
Uh, I think you will see that.
Okay.
And Lau is watching you very carefully. She knows what your gifts are.
Right. And I do look at them to kind of go, oh, this is what they were trying to do. You can kind of see the blueprints, bloop, bloop, bloop,
Oh
in
yeah,
her head.
that is one of your abilities, is to look
Exactly.
and determine how a thing is made.
And she sort of looks at her and says, I think can easily take these 3 gates down without causing any problems, but
They're
this
not
one's
they're not completed. None of them
right.
are.
And she goes, with this one, they're building the residence up in it.
She says, if you had a proper sextant for the flows of energy, we could assay the path to the library and build one there. And then it would be a single step from the library to here.
Make it easier to watch over this place.
You
I
have
can think of 3 different
expanded your
ways to
realm.
build the sextant. And she sort of stops and considers. And I think this is the thing, is she recognizes that Nuan Mao knows these things. So she will sketch out the 3 best candidates, and she goes, which of these seems most likely?
She point to the second one. That is most like what I remember.
They only have 4 of them. This would work best with 12.
She says, I think you should start by building just the 2 gates right now.
And she sort of looks at the sextant. She's like,
she says, I want you to understand that this is a deep secret of the empire that I come from.
did not know that. Would you prefer that I use this as a pattern and come up with a different design?
I don't think that's the issue. But I appreciate your thinking that way.
Would you like to destroy these?
I don't know anymore. But if it would help to be able to go from here to the library quickly, or eventually to elsewhere to deal with problems, then that's something we need to consider.
All right.
I would rather have Tasos using this to get around than the night roads.
You are absolutely correct. And she sort of turns around and she goes, all right, I've made the plan for the destruction. And she goes and chalks out everything that they can destroy that still leaves the platform for these intact, and just like enough load bearing. And literally you have to have God powers to get up there.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. Tear down the pathway up and all of that.
Exactly.
Let's take our break. Let's take 10. We'll come back and we'll start with Tasos. So, Tasos, you'll kind of witness that scene, but there's also this whole beautiful city going on around here and stuff. What is it that you're doing here?
Yeah, I think Tasso sees Nuan Lao and Threadless talking, and he can tell that they keep saying Tassos, even though like you can't hear them or see it. Like it's just
Your ears
obvious.
burn.
So I think they're gonna like slip out of the tower and wandering through the streets. basically like trying to start getting hooks into the dreamland here. Like I
Okay.
can, I can go visit people's dreams after I've seen them in person. So I'm trying to collect people that way. But I'm also reaching out and trying to get in touch with Delic and Dala.
Absolutely. I think you can do that. You can feel this. There is this weird, like that what barrier there was between the dreams and outside is gone. And I think that through the dreamlands you could feel like to the north, you're working happening. Like I think you can feel that in operation and use that as kind of a sense of direction in the
Good, good.
dream.
Everything's going as it should.
Yes. You follow their mental screams, and eventually you can find your way back uh, 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 to the tower. The thing is, though, that they aren't there. Remember, they're in Ransom sleeves. I thought that you
I,
kept them in
I,
stasis, right? To prevent them the
No, I think we ended up. I think the only person I have in my sleeves is that
oh, okay.
assassin.
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I thought
Yeah,
that
he
that
wanted
was
me to
for a
leave him at
while.
home.
okay.
Yeah.
So I apologize. So let me roll back then. Yeah, then
And
you
the
can.
assassin came out during the fight, so he's probably still wandering around.
Oh yeah. He is looking for rogue mages to kill in the city. Uh but Tasos, yeah, you can get a hold of them. They're there. Uh they will say, "Are you done?"
Well, done is a complicated word, but the angels are,
Good.
and Nuan Lao is free, and
Good. Good.
well,
It's good. She rescued us, so yes, I'm glad that she was in turn rescued.
she asked about you. I told her that you asked about her.
Well, we did. Yes, that's true. Is she coming back here, or is she staying there, or is she leaving?
I think she's coming back. I don't think she's leaving. Do you think she's leaving?
I don't know. I assume you asked her
Well,
what she would
we
do next, and she would have
we
told you,
talked
right?
about it, and
Then what did she say she would do next?
it was complicated.
Is it complicated like the word done, or something different?
It's well, no, they're similarly complicated in that they seem to be over, but really I know that there's an unmovably large mountain of work still to be done.
You used the word done in explaining the word done there.
I
Is that
well,
all right? Can you do that?
I wasn't defining. I was just explaining. It's not
What
a
what is the difference?
well. One's a why. Wait, what's happening? You've gotten very good at these stress nightmares.
There are a lot of people in the library that have these. A lot of a lot of tests and questions and quizzes and a lot of being hounded. Professor Vedra appears in many of them. Many, many of them.
Oh, I'll be sure to tell him. He would be thrilled.
Yes, I suspect so. A lot of naked students, though, where they arrive, they haven't prepared.
Oh, um, I don't know. Should you be looking at that? Well, that's probably fine. And
What? Why wouldn't it be all right?
no, I mean, you were children recently, but you're not anymore. And also, that sort of puritanical morality is not something I ascribe to.
I'm not sure we understand what that means.
Okay, I'm not getting sucked into this one again. The two of you are, well,
Yes, we are holding things in place.
what things?
The dark seed of the jungle that waits within our soul that will come the ending of the world.
Yeah, that's good. Keep holding on to that.
Okay.
Um, you know, if something happens or you need to, you can reach out to me.
We will tell you when the end comes, yes.
That too. There's a shrine down near the village now, if you want to see it.
Is there a shrine down there? I don't think Ransom, you haven't had this conversation with Tasos yet, have you? They go,
We haven't had a
oh,
chance yet.
no. They will go, absolutely, we will go down and look at the shrine.
All right, and good. Just stay on the island.
Yes.
Good. And I'll tell Nuan Lao you're staying on the island.
Are you all right?
What?
Are you all right?
Well, we survived and now things are fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want us to hang up first?
No, this is the end of your. Wake up now.
So I think we can kind of like talk about sort of the sort of broad scale for each of you, what is being done here in Neeharik before you go back, and kind of cut forward to that. So, Captain Ransom, what is big scale? What is it that you are doing here to change things or put things in order or to exploit things or whatnot?
I will suggest to Threadless about looking at their Axis Monday. Is that what it's called?
The Mundus wards.
Mundus wards, to see if we can be acclimated to them so when they come back up we can do our things in them. It's good to get them back up, but I leave that totally in your very capable hands, Threadless. But I do think it is important the city, the people here know that we came and that we are the ones who have liberated them.
Here's the question that you will get almost immediately, Ransom. Let me put this to you: is who leads us now? Who is the king? Who is the person who leads?
I see the Lion King. No king, no king, la la la. I will be king. No, uh,
Whoever says they'll be king, I will kill. So
yeah,
there
that's
you
what I
go.
figured. I mean, the country as a whole has been still running itself, hasn't it?
Through the civil authorities from here. there's a massive bureaucracy that is now like it's not just here, it's across the countryside.
Well, this is for us to, yeah, as a group, but I don't, if the civil authorities are, is it in our purview to impose a government on these people? We are, well, Evedro, I see
There's like
that you feel, yes.
Captain, look, I just have to move a couple of these little stones, and we could go anywhere from representative democracy to authoritarian regime. Like, you tell me what you want, and I will put it here. And I think that would just tilt the scales in just the right direction where they will do things. I'm really curious. I feel like we should try this.
I I tend to believe that people should rule themselves. Do others have an opinion on what a government would best look like here?
So there are both communal responsibilities, personal responsibilities, and civic responsibilities. And those are what need to be organized. And the model that you choose is defines who gets treated the worst.
Well, I don't want anybody to be treated worse. Um,
Then you will have to have a very representational thing with changing offices. That's maybe your best chance. And even that can fall into disrepair if not maintained.
We just move some stones around and we'll fix that, though.
Yeah. I just
So
know this because I
Evedro.
took the governance class. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, at heart, I'm a rebel. And, but Evedro, if you feel that you can help them structure something where they all have a voice and that this works towards the communal good.
It will be like nothing else we've ever seen before.
Are we all in agreement? Does that seem the best plan?
Well, nothing we have seen before has been all that good. So,
Well said, Darius.
Yeah.
Tasos?
Feel like a form of rule based around fear and shame would be more effective, but
Well,
Evedro seems really excited about this experiment.
We can shame those who choose not to vote or to participate in civic organization.
Ah, it's a bit dry, but I don't know. I could work up some, maybe wolverines, anti-civic wolverines, or rabid badgers.
Badgering them to vote, yes.
Yes.
All right then, Evedro, that seems move your stones.
So, Professor Vedder, what you have to work with is that they do have a kind of imperial style bureaucracy, not unlike sort of classical China. They've got governors in the different areas, and they've got a civil service that manages things. And that is how like it organizes to serve the metropole. Taxes and food come here to serve this city. There are a couple of other major cities, but it's always been sort of the imperial family and things like that. Um, uh, and I would say that just because we have put them on the map, that the person that you can find to assist you in like getting a read on this is the Vishant,
I was going to suggest that.
the ambassador.
Oh.
We will go and haul her in.
Oh, that's a good idea. And I think we set her up as sort of not necessarily the leader, but the person who's sort of helping kind of promote and push this stuff through.
I would be pleased to be the high bureaucrat.
I knew we could count on you. I'm so glad we met all those years ago, whenever it was.
Like a Threadless, not king. You don't have to kill her.
Very important.
Whatever you do, don't use the word king.
I would
This
not.
is
We always had an emperor, so I would never use the
we
word
are
king.
stepping away from emperors, from kings, from all of that. This is I think Evedro is sensitive enough to the movements of bureaucracies that I understand that we can't just make it happen, that in some ways it needs to be organic. So um, I'm spending, Evedro is super excited about this because it's sort of like a little bit of an experiment that he's
Okay.
doing. Um, but he wants to kind of try and set in motion by planting the knowledge of representative government. He wants to establish the bureaucratic structures necessary for people to participate in their government. And I think I'm even tapping into journeying a little bit, where the idea is like we have to kind of watch this evolve, maybe even over a couple of generations too. So I feel like I don't, Evedro doesn't want this to just happen overnight. He wants it to feel like they've sort of had a hand in designing it.
Okay. I think that if you are building off of that civil infrastructure, and given uh, uh, the angels had put their forces in there, and essentially you're filling in where they were and kind of changing things. Normally, I would probably do this as slightly improbable, but I think it'll be base cost for Dominion for this,
Okay.
which to create a system of representative democracy with a chain of civil service, that'll be for a nation will be 8 points of Dominion.
And we all contribute.
Everyone can contribute.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
I'll toss in two, no
I'll
problem.
toss in two.
Same.
That's 6. And I'll toss in 2.
Okay, they got it. Tasos is already invested in the nation.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That is the thing. Is as the new sort of not voting civic fear badgers start to appear, of course, that collides with Tasos's nightmare manifestations to the north.
I mean, there's
The
also
coastal regions are very civic minded. Like they're religious about voting.
I also feel like there's you can play on the anxiety of participation as well, like having to step up and take responsibility. There's some nightmares around there.
Oh yeah, I mean Tasos is over in a corner like reworking I showed up to class naked dreams and I slept through voting time, like
Right.
some very stern woman in glasses yelling at them about not studying the candidates' positions thoroughly enough.
I think in part, I will say this to you, Ransom. I'm going to come back to you to have you answer here, but I think in part, definitely your the courage of the multitude and 1,000 little troops and those things are sort of secondary things that you're able to do to supplement that. Like that's the use of your word to make sure that there's no military takeover. That you shift those things using that word in part for Dominion, and Darius can certainly work the cities, and Threadless can build the infrastructure.
Yes. And I will start with building the tower, rebuilding the tower with essentially
the interval gate, you mean?
No, I'm talking about the tower
the
that
tower
sort of led
itself.
up to it. It doesn't go all the way up to the interval gates. Those appear to float above.
Okay.
And they have like this are statues of us on them, though they can't really see them so well, but I put them on there. That's pretty much like a warning to anyone. But I think that what it is that I build a building that has like sort of the schematic of what it is that Evedro has created, like the government, the representative government, and it's sort of done with like a sort of a map and
Okay.
it's it's very lovely because
Kind of
it's
a
Here
very
parliament
is
house.
here
So
though.
the
Let me say,
Constitution, the
yeah.
Constitution is sort of like built.
it's a tower. Yeah, I've
I
built.
love that. That's so cool.
Mhm.
I'm going to come back to this. Here is the one thing, Ransom, that you'll pick up in all of this is there is a real fear. Not about it, about that the things you've already dealt with about the uncertainty thing, but uh, they have historically fought against their neighbors to the south in Arwenshaw.
Mhm.
That's where we're going next.
Uh,
Take care of
and
it.
Perhaps.
and like they there is this is a kind of a Britain France kind of thing, long running animosity between the two, but they also know that there is a an undead spewing dragon there that seems to be taking over Arwenshaw, and now there's some worry about that. Like there's some nervousness
Yeah.
here.
Um, while they're thinking government, because I'll admit, Ransom is not a governmenty thinker particularly. I'm thinking religion.
Okay.
And so I will kind of ask Threadless to go a little, to go along with this, perhaps Tasos to go along with this. Help from Darius and Ivesro would do well as you could join in for this. As I'm going to rise up, do a miracle to project my voice, suggest Threadless, make our statues appear to us, be visible so everyone can see them at least for the moment, to announce that we are this pantheon who has come here. We came because we cared about your city and your people. We cared about you being free. And we have come to act as your deities to provide you with hope and support. And that we will be here to help protect you against this in the South, and that we will be looking to handle this and get our names out there
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
promote us as a religion.
Well, and that's the thing. I think that within, a few weeks, given that you already had some texts that you had put together, though you need to add Darius in,
Mm-hmm.
for the Apocrypha, to those things. Um, uh, you need to you will have uh you know worshipers that will sanctify shrines here, will sanctify what would have been older. They still have ancestral worship and imperial worship, but they kind of worship the old imperial line as an ancestor thing, because those are sort of like kind of saint figures, the different
Mm-hmm.
rulers. But they will sanctify shrines to each of you within the city. I mean, that's a third level effect. You all have that apotheosis.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Uh,
somewhere in the we'll put it to
yeah,
in the tower where
yeah.
they can have that as part of the civic.
Uh,
And,
well,
and
they'll do individual shrines like
Oh,
around the
okay.
city. Yeah. Darius, what do you think a shrine to you would look like? I've gotten a
Oh,
sense from the others kind of what theirs look like.
I have no idea.
It's almost as if we don't know what Darius looks like.
Yeah, it's almost like that. I think Darius is sort of intentionally forgettable.
Okay.
Like I think there's a reason nobody knows what they look like other than me not picking a picture.
Okay.
Um, for one thing, they can shapeshift, but into animals. But in their human form, like I think they're the kind of person who disappears in plain sight. Um, so I don't know what a shrine would look like.
Like when they say the faceless one, Darius, what do they say of Darius? We have a shrine to Darius. They are the faceless one. They are the quiet one who walks. The others come with thunder and storms and darkness and shouting and arrows. What is it that Darius brings? How is are you think people end up symbolizing you?
So I guess what is and rewinding a tiny bit,
Sure.
to support this sort of religious belief, I think Darius goes out and finds other people who have been tortured in the way that what's her name was, and
Yeah.
heals them too. So like there are a lot of people just spontaneously regrowing limbs.
So
Which I think,
they
yeah,
definitely see you as a god, a god of
yeah,
healing and of health.
yes.
Um,
Um, like, and I think, you know, uh, they've been seen as like, yeah, the person who shows up in the wake of a disaster and helps people and then leaves.
Are your
um,
shrines hospitals?
Maybe they are. Yeah, maybe that would be like, I guess that would make sense. Yes.
and it would make sense if the idea of healing is not just people, but is animals as well, because you have that beast word there as well, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So they will become clinics to treat all humans, animals, all of those things.
Yeah, and
Okay.
all of the in between creatures we have here, I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah. So Ransom, we got the shrine set up. We've been doing that building. Darius, we've got you established shrines. You've gone out and have done this work to spread your identity, not necessarily your name, but the feeling of who you are.
Hmm.
Threadless, you working on rebuilding the tower. We got the interval gate, this side of it set up. You built the Constitution built into the buildings. Anything else?
I think I think that there is a whole level of bureaucracy that is about building and those things, and that is where you see my symbol the most, if that makes any sense. As like, it doesn't take me long to proliferate that out, if that makes any sense. So I think
Mhm.
that that's one of the things. I think there also is, she's just an odd one. There's probably military too, just because of bows and things like that. So I'm assuming that that's part of it. So there's some of that. Not that she thinks of herself as a militaristic person, but she definitely is a weapon. But no, I would say that mostly what you're seeing is um those things. Her small shrines, though, the shrines that actually have her name on it, are probably still luck and fertility.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? So
Absolutely,
there's
yeah.
there's the
There
ones that where you're like
at
really
the
have
at
that
the
sense of
civil service level, you're worshipped as the god of major projects of
building.
road building, of dams, of all of those kinds of grand scale architecture, civic projects, and that you have these different identities at the different levels.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
But in the neighborhoods, yeah,
Yeah.
shrine of luck and fertility. So.
Tasos, what about for you? What do you think you're doing here in this time before you head back to the library?
Um, so I sort of had an idea, like when Ransom was doing that miracle up in the sky thing, of helping that out with there's a night gift I don't have, but miracle of, like, while he's making that announcement in the space of time that it takes to make that announcement, like the sun dawns and rises up to this big, like, burning noonday sun, and sets and night falls, and this huge overhanging full moon rises and sets before, at the end of the announcement, like, time sort of returns to where it was.
Absolutely.
And I think given the, like, time-based trauma this nation has gone through, and we have, like, a sun god, we have a night god, that like, the passage and controlling of time, and, like, clocks and calendars sort of become a part of the worship and the
Oh, nice.
pantheon symbology here.
Nice. Regulation, regular order, the return of time, the return of the passage of
Hmm.
days as normal.
Like,
You know,
like heavily ornamented clocks that run from, like, Ordevi to Avedro to the dark of Tasos, and that sort of, like, illuminated things.
uh 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 Oris that show the three moons and how they arrange to one another, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I like that. And since you built one of those before, back a while ago, I like that. Yeah, absolutely. And Evedro?
I'm so glad you asked. I feel like I really liked the performance that Ransom put together, and I think what happens is the kids in the school have been sort of motivated to kind of rebuild those who have not gone back to their parents, or maybe they have, and then they come back and they work on the school, and when they see this um, event, they recognize me as the one who is encouraging them to be skeptical. And so they sort of translate, just like they're sort of translating Tasos a little bit. The folks who worship me here see me as the god of skepticism, and they kind of raise that up as kind of a value that they have. And so my shrines are still libraries and schools and things like that. Um, but there's an emphasis on uh, not taking things at face value.
Knowledge on analysis of things that kind of uh I don't know, I can't say Maimonides, but sort of the Talmudic analysis of things,
Yeah.
and questioning
Yes.
that goes on,
Yes.
that you will bring to bear. And what about the schools themselves? How are you reorganizing that? What are you doing with that?
Um, I am um I- I'm de Vedro is definitely looking at everything that went wrong with the university and trying to fix all of those mistakes.
What
Uh,
does Evedro think went wrong with the university?
Hiring other people. Like clearly things went to shit when we had to expand. And so Evedro is the sole educator, um, which means the kids are going to be a little going to have a little bit be on their own while I go back to the library. But so I think I'm just going to be very much more careful. I was keen to get the school really big, the university really big. Um, and now I think I can be a little bit more deliberate. Um,
So we've got the kids who have lost the gift of magic,
yeah,
but have studied, have learned to read and write, and all of those things that they needed to learn to do that. So you've got an educated class of those kids, and sort of those are the younger ones that you can work with. That What are you doing with the ones that have that theurgy, that, like, really, the several dozen
yeah, yeah.
students with dangerous magical power?
I mean, I think this is why I've really leaned into the skepticism thing because I want them to sort of question everything. Um, they have seen me steal knowledge, right? So they have seen this in some of their companions. I was able to take stuff away. And so there's sort of this constant threat of stealing knowledge from them. But we're not doing any magic. mostly because I don't know magic, but we are um, doing things to sort of encourage them to be mindful and careful in how they apply their magical arts.
That that certainly makes sense. Uh, the other thing you have is that you do know that one of the gods from the other pantheon, Sedenia, actually the leader god, did have the gifts of sorcery. And so that's that if they can assist you if you need that. And certainly once you get set up and are doing things after you kind of got the Vishant in place and all of that, uh uh the assassin that you brought with you will come to you and will say, I know you don't want other teachers, but if you'd like, I can from time to time pop in on these wizards and put the fear of gods in them.
So not to educate them, but
No,
to educate them.
to educate them, yes.
Yeah.
I would enjoy that very much if I were to be given the opportunity to do that.
We're aligned in that the punishment should be no harsher than assigned reading, right?
It depends on what kind of readings you're making them do. The, there will be no permanent damage to a single student.
Um, can we say no physical damage?
We could say that.
It's very important to me that this school establish a reputation as a place of learning and meditation and skepticism,
I will
and not
merely appear like a specter to those who seem to be deciding that maybe they should, what is the word? What is the phrase? Fuck around and find out with their magic.
I I I think that's fine.
And I will not cause physical damage. And and they will probably not talk to anyone else about my visitations.
We will try it. But if
Absolutely.
I get angry letters from parents, we're going to have to rethink our arrangement.
There'll be no angry letters from parents.
I hope I don't regret this. I knew it. I see as soon as I hire someone. Well, I will.
Yeah. No. You go about your teaching. You'll be fine. I'm
Okay.
just gonna
He's a
help.
volunteer. He's
I'm a
not an
volunteer.
employee. Yeah.
Imagine you needed somebody to help out in the library, to come in. It's all like that.
Okay, I hope I don't regret this.
I hope you don't either. And so I think, yeah, you can get things set up here in Neeharik and Threadless. Are you willing to uh, drop a Dominion to create an interval gate from here back to the library?
Yeah, sure. How much do you think it would cost?
That would be a Dominion for
A-
that a single Dominion.
For each one? Sure.
Well, for this first one,
Yeah.
they will be rising cost
Oh,
if you
really?
decide to make others.
Well, I'm gonna be making 12, so you better work out how much that's.
And so I think that then you can return back. At what point, Ransom, do you have that conversation with Tasos?
Um, I will arrange for our journey back to have an evening. I want a night so that Tassos feels comfortable. Um, when we are up on deck And Tasos, would you mind terribly if we had a brief conversation?
No, I don't suppose so.
I have a favor to ask.
Hmm.
I saw that you built a shrine in the town.
Yes.
Were you aware that I had expended a certain amount of my presence there, and that there also was an older presence there?
I remember you mentioning something about teeth.
Yes, teeth, scales. Tassos, I would like for you to move your shrine a little up to the path
Oh, no,
to
I
the
can't do
university.
that.
Oh, you can. It's relatively easy. I saw how it was built. It is not terribly sturdy. But it would be a great favor to me, and it would mean that you did not have an animosity with an older power that exists there. And I admit, sometimes, despite what I hope is our friendship, you are a mystery to me. But throughout our association, I feel like I have always done everything I can to help you. From the moment we met, I sailed you, I rescued who two who have become, I think, like family to you. I have taken them to my breast and would defend them to the best I am able. Someone who is important to me has asked that you move that shrine. Can you do me that favor?
Is that what they asked you? To move it?
Yes, they ask if you would simply move it out of the town to the paths to the into the university. Or, well, honestly, they don't care where you move it as long as it's not in the town. But they suggested the paths.
The shrine is there. It can't be moved. Could, of course, be destroyed, I suppose.
We know someone good at that. But
Threadless. I heard someone
You should go.
talking
If
about
you
destroying
are
something.
afraid of the consequences of my shrine, then destroying it would be the only natural outcome.
I suppose that is true.
Tasos looks like fucking thrilled. This is Tasos Christmas. This is the best thing you could do.
I suppose that uh, it is possible even for me to have my fear overrule me.
To think, fangs in the water, similarly afraid. These ripples go far.
Yes. And I would happily help if you wish.
Oh, I'm not afraid of the shrine.
Ah, I'm glad we've had this talk, Tasos.
This is wonderful. This may well turn out to be my best shrine.
Indeed.
And we'll see you return back to the library. Uh, Ransom, do you destroy the shrine, or do you give Unsoning the chance to destroy it?
I think I have to do it. I know as much as he would love to do it, it's my fear that probably is
He
the
stands
bargain.
by and gives you advice. You missed a bit over. Oh, right there. Yeah.
It'd be a yes. As I think the waters rise up and begin tearing it down.
Yes.
Tasos is like hidden in a shadow behind a tree, just watching with glee.
And you all will get back to the library. Darius, what is coming back to this place after that weirdness like for you? What do you do when we see you come back here?
It's been a very long time since I've come back to anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's different. I kind of didn't really expect to, because like I said, it's been a long time since I've returned to a place that I've been before recently. And
People are
also, I mean, it's
here.
not even on
They
fire.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they know your name. They greet you.
yeah, that's even weirder. I People are not supposed to know my name. Like, that's just strange. I think there's a temptation to like try to use some kind of influence to make them forget, and then I'm like, wait, I guess it's okay that they know my name. I guess that's fine. Sure, okay, whatever. um uh
The rats
but
are
I
pleased
think
to have you back. That's for sure.
cool, cool. But I think my instinct, because it's so strange to be returning to somewhere that I was just here. I mean, and it wasn't on fire either time. What the hell? Uh, I think I'm gonna like go somewhere within the place that I haven't been before. Just because like unfamiliar place, going somewhere unfamiliar is somehow more normal.
Yeah, it's your comfort.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes. Uh,
absolutely.
so yeah, I'm gonna just wander around till I'm somewhere I haven't been before.
Threadless, what about you? What is your return? What do you do here when you come back?
Well, we've taken care of one mission, and so the neighbor to the south is the next. So I've started making plans for taking on the undead dragon.
The great undead spewing dragon,
Yes, yes, exactly. So
one of the few of the Celestials left. It said that there are a few. There's another one supposedly in the moon, and there are some others, but uh, dangerous and deadly.
dangerous and deadly, and this undead one is going to be dead. So it's going
Okay,
to, and it's essentially just figuring out how that's going to work.
all right.
And I talked to Ansani and I'm like, is this going to be a problem?
What do you mean?
If I go to kill the dragon?
Oh no, he will kill you.
No.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Perhaps we can think on it, find some other way, but he must leave Arwenshaw.
Doesn't say anything after that.
Okay.
Where do you build the gate? Is it, out the interval landing place? Is it on the way up to the library? Is it in that front sort of plateau where the scribes are? Is it off of a tower?
That's an interesting question. And here's the thing is I'm actually going to speak to Nolan Lau about that, and I'm going to go.
You can transport goods, so you're going to want it at a place where you have access. So I would suggest you put it out front because things can be moved there more easily than any place else.
Is each of the ones were at slightly different heights? Does that have something to do with the resonance, perhaps?
Each gate can go to one place,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to be aligned properly to the other place.
That or you're building something ridiculous platform to receive or send.
Right. It will take some
sense.
re-engineering, but I think you're going to want it out here.
All right. If we build another one, it might be good to put one to the Storm Giant's place.
That's a possibility.
All right. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Okay.
I'll clear out a nice place that's like sort of it faces you know, the city actually.
Right.
So and it is at an appropriate height for probably a sort of top floor of the tower, the civic tower that was built around. I leave those four. No, I'm using those four.
Yeah.
So I'm using the one of the four. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, that's good.
Tasos, what do you do when you come back?
I think amongst other things, Tasos is spending some of the nights leading a pack of those the Alabaster Assassins around on some like hunts against some of these nightmares that have gone unchecked, gotten a little wild and too large. It wouldn't be fair for me to like fight the nightmares, but I do think there's this like 50% larger than the other cat's black cat that's leading the pack and sort of like guiding the hunts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think they are excited by the possibility of going to Neeharik through this gate because it's so accessible. Like they don't have to go anywhere. It's not far. They don't want to walk a long way. So
Tasos keeps trying to talk them into taking boat rides. Just think of all of the water that would be surrounding you on all sides, infinite amounts of water.
we've done that once. We don't need to do that again. Some of us have.
It's just when you walk through the gate, nothing really. It's just one step and then another. You don't
Yes,
feel anything about it.
exactly.
Exactly.
You understand that we're cats, right?
I'm intimately aware with the. Maybe I'm not.
Nah, you'll get it at some point.
I think I'm also while I'm like continuing to tell Delek and Dala they can't leave the island at least 5 times a day.
Okay.
Tassos is also just freely encouraging them to go as far and wide as possible in exploring the like expanding dream realms.
Nothing bad can come of that.
Nothing at all.
Nothing bad can come of these seeds of the apocalypse going out and exploring out in all the realms of dream. Ransom, what are you doing when you get back?
I am uncharacteristically delving into the library here to find out as much as I can about the Great Sea of Souls, the stories of it, the stories of where people have been going. And I think periodically I'm like leaving the island and diving as deep as I can into the oceans and like reaching out to see if I can how deep and how you can reach that. And yeah.
Yeah. One of the things being is you haven't been on land as much as you like you have in here. You are a god of water. So one of the other things you will realize is, we've talked about this before in the Mountain Home game and so on, is that there are underground rivers that run in various places. That is a common thing around here, that
Mm,
are rapids as a transit way across the land.
mm.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind too.
I
Yeah,
will,
we'll talk about
yeah.
the diving down. I think a little bit next time. That seems like a good thing to come back to. Evedro, what do you do when you come back?
Um, I seek out Tintefa to get an update on how things are going at the university. And
He tells you about all of the things that have gone slightly wrong in your absence. They've been able to fix them, but he definitely dwells on all the things that yeah, there were some things that you only you could handle. That
I think you're telling me these things just to make me feel better.
yes,
I need you to know that you don't need to do that for me anymore. Not as much as you normally do it.
fair
A little
enough,
bit.
fair enough.
I am so excited to tell you about a new opportunity that I'm pursuing across the water. I've found a way to occupy my time now that I've been given this, now that I've been gifted this leave of absence.
Excellent. Uh, are you prepared to tell me
It's
what that
another
is?
school. It's another school. I'm making another school, but for little kids, for kids, not just for young adults.
Y- y- You're going to imagine a school for children.
Yes, yes. This is the only way to truly educate someone is to start at the very beginning. How else can I shepherd their enlightenment if I have to work with, you know, very poor raw materials and there are students walking by at that very moment?
That that I that is not something that would have occurred to me for
No,
you to do.
no, I know it wouldn't have occurred to me either. And I met the most charming, enthusiastic young people there. They do have a lot of evil magic in them. So we do have to work around that.
Wait, what?
It's fine. It's going to be fine. I've left the assassins in charge.
Wait, what? This sounds far from fine to me. And may I ask, what is Ordevi's take on this?
That's a really good question. Or, because of the whole time dilation thing, or Debbie didn't I didn't really have a chance to interact with or Debbie. That's
Okay.
weird. That's never happened to me before.
Well, if there is anything you require in terms of texts or things like that, we have the students that are doing scribal work, recopying things. I can always have new texts copied or printed for you, should you need
I
them.
Yes, there are several books that I will need to several dozen, several hundred books I will need to borrow from the library. And I will prepare a list. You won't even miss them.
It is a large library, so I suspect that you are correct. Well, I wish you the best of luck, Professor.
Um, Thank you.
I
couldn't
sincerely hope this goes well.
I heard that from several of the parents too. I could not do this. I could not feel confident in starting this new venture if I didn't have you to count on here. Tintava, you've been with me from the beginning. I'm very grateful.
I appreciate that. Tell me, will
Please don't breathe.
Tanuja be going with you?
I haven't spoken to her. Have you seen her around?
Yes, she continually checks and sees if you're back.
Didn't I should probably go speak to her. But maybe after we fight the dragon.
I think putting this off even longer is certainly a plan of yours. And he will say, I am honestly glad that you're able to find something so quickly to occupy your time.
Wish me well.
I
And the
I,
children.
I wish you well, and I wish all the luck, good fortune, and safety to those children. And I think that's where we're going to stop for tonight. If that seems cool, I would like to do a quick stars and wishes. Of course, our stars cover this session, last session, and wishes being things we want to see going forward, see more of, see less of, that kind of thing. Tyler, can I start with you?
Sure. There was a ton of awesome things these last two sessions. That fight was amazing. I really enjoyed it. It was scary. It was a hell of a fight. Everybody did cool shit. It was fun. That the fight was neat, and the angels seemed very dangerous. Um, I love our solution coming out. I will hit a star to say, Sherry, I love Constitution as architecture. I imagine there will be many others who echo that, but that was inspired. That was just really, really neat. Um, I loved working, Dan, anytime we do things together, but I loved us dealing with the school. I thought that was fun. Lol, I liked the three there that gave us a focus, and that ended up just being a really nice scene. Um, Ethan, seeing Darius kind of come up with, even if it was a little like put you on the spot, you responded beautifully with this concept of what Darius is like. That faceless traveler that's there to provide help in the disaster. And then to watch you kind of come up with what that means and what that looks like as a shrine and all of that was really, really fun. Um, and I also think it was kind of sweet to see you go and help with Threadless to restore someone who had been through such terrible trauma. That was really, really cool. Um, there were a couple of really fun, interesting things. I love the interactions between you and the kids. Not kids anymore, but Dala and Dalek. That might be. I don't know if it's Dalek, but um, y'all are so odd, and the way you avoid saying you care about each other while in every word we can see it. Lowell, you do a great job in that. Patrick, you do a great job in that. We can see they really care about each other. They are worried about each other. And it's really neat because Tasos does not someone that you feel like cares, but he really loves them and they really love him or them. Um, I, I thought that scene was great. So those are my stars. My wishes. I look forward to an awesome fight when we deal with the dragon. It's always fun to deal with a dragon. But I also kind of want I want to learn a little bit about what's up with this dragon, the dragon. I want there to be a little more depth than we just go
Yeah.
kill it.
Yeah, keep in mind, one of the things you know is that the dragon has been like stealing the weapons and souls of powerful generals. You've still got, I mean,
Mhm.
it is not that dragon is not just like spewing undeath. They've got a plan.
Right. And that's what I'm excited about is seeing what's the deal with this guy, with this dragon. I'm really interested in the backstory or the plan or whatever, even more than just like the big hack and slash or whatever. That I'm really looking forward to seeing that. That's my wish, I suppose.
Okay. Darius.
Yeah, stars to yeah, that whole conversation with the weird nightmare family, like long distance conversation. It's like it's just so normal to them. And yet they're a weird nightmare family. That was very cool. And Ransom's solution of putting on song and dance routine, like, okay, that is absolutely not a solution I would have ever thought of in a million years. It was very cool. And uh um Threadless taking advantage of the platforms, yes, cool. I was thinking like, oh, that is both a very convenient plot device and also a very convenient plot device to backfire on us horribly. Yes. uh and the whole conversation, stars to conversations.
Mhm.
Everybody, they were very cool. Because the last one with Evedro, also excellent. um lots of good character interactions.
Anything wishes wise?
uh I mean, only for myself to figure out what the hell I'm other than wandering around and just doing whatever comes up in the moment. Um, but that's for me to do. That's my responsibility, I think. So
That's fair.
I don't have any others.
Okay. Evedro.
I really don't generally like fights in OSR style games, but last week's session was it was really genuinely fun, and I Lowell appreciate the opportunity for Ransom and Avedro to work together kind of towards the denouement.
Mhm.
That was just a nice little kind of moment of them helping each other. And that actually stuck with me throughout the week. I thought about that several times throughout the week. Um, I wasn't sure where we were going to go after this, but I was really excited about this whole session. I was enjoying every second of it. Um, I um could watch entire episodes of conversations between Tasos and Nuanlo just because I feel like we can learn so much about the human condition watching those two navigate their relationship. I love them. That being said, the rhythm of this, of like these kinds of making powerful changes and then awkward conversations it's just so good. It's just such a great representation of what it must be like to be a deity. Um, Patrick, keep those coming. I just love them. Anytime you can interact with Nuanlo, I am there. I really enjoyed watching the healing scene, even though as uncomfortable as that was. Lowell, I appreciate you sort of cutting away there, but I think even watching you kind of help, like go in and genuinely help this person, told us a lot about probably the most about Darius. And uh yeah, so those are some of the things that really stood out to me. Wishes. I did have one. Uh yeah, I think I kind of want to put the relationship with the ghost girl to bed. Like we
Absolutely.
kind of want to move on from that. So let's maybe try and do that. And then um that was the other thing is like the I know we're going to deal with the dragon, but we got this other pantheon and I don't remember who they are and what they're doing and I sense there's an opportunity to interact with them.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we can check in with the other pantheon. That makes sense. Excellent. Threadless.
Yeah. Let's see. Last week's fight was pretty harrowing. I guess that's what you look for. I really hated those angels, so it was satisfying in a lot of ways. Um, I always like being able to help other people do their things in combat. And I cannot express to you just how relieved it was when Ransom made it all the way through the fight, because it was like you were hitting him a lot harder than I could heal him, and I was watching it go, and it was really bad. So yeah, that was a good that was a I was so relieved. Yes, a very good moment in that sense. Let's see here. Uh, I love Evedro's, what do you say? It's like he's pre-tired when he starts out with the bureaucracy. It's like he's just like, oh, here, okay, here we go again. And he just, starts out working through the process until he gets it all done. So I always like to help in that in any way possible because it's another kind of building. I think not one that I'm good at, but that Threadless likes to watch happen, if that makes any sense. Even though it seems like a horrible grinding machine in some ways. Let's see here. Ransom, every time you do a song or dance number, I'm always like, yeah, that's these have happened before, and I assume will happen again, Darius, just so you know. That's how it rolls. Tasos was top of his game tonight, conversation wise. That was good times, I have to say. I don't know. It's a good set um of sessions. I really liked getting to know Darius. A lot more human, still kind of holding on to that sense of humanity. I think uh maybe in some ways Threadless is the other one that's the most like that. And even she sort of stepped apart a little bit more than she had previously. So that'll be an interesting thing to see how it develops through the rest of the quarter. So wishes, I want to do something about the dragon. I say kill him, but I want him gone.
Okay.
And I know that those aren't the same thing. Threadless knows those aren't the same thing. He's set on a plan, he's doing a thing, but it doesn't mean that the only way to stop him is to kill him.
Okay.
So
That's fair. Tasos.
Yeah, this was a great pair of sessions, and just like could not be more different from each other. Um, I think like the biggest contrast in my mind is the fight last time where Evedro is this like burning, shining, fiery apocalypse in the middle of this place to this time Evedro has like his little piles of pebbles in front of him and he's organized. Like I loved your use of bureaucracy there, and just the idea that like you would get an idea and reorganize all these little pebbles and like dozens of couriers would run with memos from one place to another. Then you'd reorganize them and all of them would run to different places. And like Ransom came over and knocked a pebble aside with his foot, and suddenly Waste Management reports to the FCC or something. Like, it's just it was great magic. Similarly, Sherry, I love the idea of Threadless getting her hands on dimensional crystal magic. Like, just wonderful, excellent, can't wait. But also, like Tyler said, that idea of the words made stone, the Constitutionist tower, that like divine synesthesia was just, it was super cool. Very, very Threadless. Ethan, I thought it was cool getting to define some of the undefinition of Darius. That like leaning into the facelessness of it. I love that idea. I also love the idea of like your legend and divinity being linked with like helper animals and those like animals who come and save someone sort of stories. I think that's really cool. And the healing by going through the full like lizard tail baby hands, healing that has to go through biology rather than just through magic, I always think is so interesting and visceral. And so what was I going to say for Tyler? Oh, I've been looking forward to working out that thing with the shrine with you. Because I you know, I didn't want to be obstinate in the story about it, but I wanted to figure out a way that it could like work for both of us, and I really love that idea of how
great.
it turned out. Wishes, I think I've always thought undead spewing dragon sounds fascinating. But I do also want to try and figure out a way for Tasos to do some sort of research investigation further into the you know, the corrupted seed, the growing jungle, that thing, that whole
Okay.
thing.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you all so much. I had a good time running these two sessions. Really enjoyed them. So very pleased. I am going to stop the recording.